fisherman stands on the pier at Portree, watching the light move across the water. This is the Isle of Skye, the wild western edge of Scotland, home to around 13,000 people. And until 1995, it had no bridge at all. An island the whole world now dreams of reaching, that once almost no one wanted. Morning on Skye does not begin with an alarm. It begins with the light. A gray wash lifts off the sea, then a shaft of sun cuts through, then it is gone again, and the whole island seems to have been repainted while you looked away. The fishermen here will tell you there is no scenery anywhere else quite like it, and that it is never the same twice. The earliest cafe on the island opens inside an old crofter's cottage. Its stone walls, once left to fall in, now warm again with coffee. Old and new sit folded into each other on Skye. A ruined wall becomes a kitchen. A shepherd's track becomes a road. In Gaelic, the island is An Tíalian Sgithianach, and it carries a second, softer name, Éilíonn Acheo, the Island of Mist. It lies off the western coast of Scotland, the second largest island in the country, and today around 13,000 people live here, by recent NHS Highland estimates for 2024. 2 decades ago, it was smaller still. And here is the strange part, the part that will follow us through everything that comes next. This island, that so much of the world now longs to reach, was, for most of its history, a place people were desperate to leave. Right up until 1995, there was no bridge at all. To set foot on Skye, you had to cross the water. How a place with no road in became a place everyone wants to arrive at. That is where this story begins. On Skye, time is not kept by a clock. It is kept by the tide, by the light, by the weather turning color over the sea. You learn to read the sky instead of your watch. A day is not an appointment here. It is a slow procession of moods, and the island sets the pace, not you. People are often surprised by the climate. Say, remote Scottish island, and most minds jump to something Arctic. The truth is, gentler. January sits at around 6.5 degrees on average, July around 15, and snow rarely lies at sea level for long. The Gulf Stream does the quiet work, carrying warm water up from the Gulf of Mexico to soften the edge of the North Atlantic. It is not a warm place, but a far kinder one than the postcards of gray cliffs suggest. What stays with visitors is not the temperature, though. It is the pace of the people. On this island, you can knock on almost any door, be handed a cup of tea, sit for a blather, and then walk 100 meters to the next house and be welcomed the same way. There is a word the Scots still use for the heart of it, a ceilidh. A gathering of neighbors around a peat fire to talk and drink whiskey and play music late into the night. It is not a performance for tourists, it is just how the evening ends. There is a question hiding under all of this stillness, and it is worth sitting with. A place this quiet, this far from everything. What do people actually live on? The answer is not simple, and it is not always gentle. But it starts with the ones who chose this life on purpose. Callum sets his lobster creels off the coast of Skye, the way his family has for generations. Ask him why he stays, and he does not talk about scenery in the way a brochure would. He talks about the light again, how no corner of Skye looks the same twice. To him, the island is a working sea he has read his whole life. The fishing has changed, though. Rising costs and tightening quotas pushed many local men to sell their boats and take steadier jobs in the oil trade. But a few genuine fishermen held on, and Callum is one of them. His son works the boat alongside him now. And when you ask about the future, he does not talk about profit. He talks about his grandchildren, the hope that a third generation, maybe even a fourth, will keep hauling creels from these same waters. Behind the fishing families sits an older way of living that shaped the whole island, crofting. In the 19th century, a crofting family did not own its land. They paid rent, yet depended on that ground for nearly everything, gathered around a peat fire that burned day and night, reading the Gaelic Bible, playing music through the long, dark evenings. Today, Skye still holds an estimated 2,000 working crofts, most of them small parcels of 2 to 15 acres. But by most estimates, only around 100 are large enough to support a person on farming alone. The rest work a second job, and often a third. So the people are here. The life is real, not staged. But whether it can hold, whether the grandchildren stay, is a question the island has been asking itself for a very long time. First, though, you have to get here. And the way onto Skye is stranger than you would think. There is no train station on the island itself. The main way in is the Skye Bridge, a single graceful curve of concrete linking Kyle of Lochulsh on the mainland to the island shore. You can drive across it now for free. And this is the quiet paradox at the heart of the place. That bridge only opened in 1995. For every century before it, Skye was cut off completely, reachable only by boat. A generation of people alive today can remember when there was no other way across. There are still boats, of course. The Calmac car ferry runs from Mallaig to Armadale, a crossing of about 30 minutes, with up to 9 sailings a day in summer. Fares on the ferries between Scotland's islands are held down by government subsidy to keep these lifelines affordable for the people who depend on them. And then there is the strangest way of all. Between Glenelg and Kyleria, a small vessel called the Glenaculish still makes the crossing, widely described as the last hand-operated turntable ferry left working anywhere in the world. Its deck physically rotates to load and unload the cars, a piece of engineering that should have vanished decades ago and refused to. Once you are on the island, the roads reshape how you travel. Most are single-track, one lane wide, with passing places every few hundred meters. Sheep wander into the road as if they own it, which, in a sense, they do. Public transport is thin, so a hire car is close to essential. But that freedom is also the first sign that this easy island is wilder than the bridge makes it look. And the wildest thing on Skye is waiting a little further north. The walk up to the Old Man of Store does not ease you in. The trail runs about 3.5 miles there and back, climbing close to 1,000 feet, and it tilts upward almost from the car park. Within minutes, your breath is short. The weather turns as you climb. Clear sky, then rain, driving sideways for 10 hard minutes. Then sun again, drying your jacket before you have decided whether to take it off. Local stories say the ridge above you is the frozen thumb of an ancient giant, turned to stone over the sea. You keep climbing, and the mist keeps hiding whatever waits at the top. And then the ground levels. The cloud pulls back, and it is there. A single pinnacle of rock, around 55 meters tall, roughly 180 feet, standing alone on the hillside as if it had been set down by hand. This is the most photographed landscape in Scotland, and people who reach it fall quiet. What they had imagined, it turns out, was smaller than the real thing. Beside it runs the Quiraing, a looping mountain road that many drivers call the most beautiful they have ever taken anywhere in Scotland, threading through a landscape that looks as though it has collapsed. Because it has. Everything you are standing on here, the pinnacle, the road, the whole broken skyline, was made by something falling apart, and what caused it is older and stranger than a giant's thumb. The Old Man of Store and the Quiraing both sit on the Trotternish Ridge, the site of the longest landslip in Britain. The story underneath is a slow-motion collapse. Hard volcanic basalt, laid down around 60 million years ago, came to rest on top of much softer Jurassic sediment. The soft layer could not carry the weight, so the whole mass began to slide and slump over ages, breaking into the ridges and pinnacles you now pay to photograph. The landscape is not a sculpture. It is a wound that is still healing. To the south rises the Cuillin, the eroded remains of a vast volcanic magma chamber. Its jagged black gabbro peaks unlike anything else in the country. The highest of them, Sgurr Alistair, reaches 992 meters, the tallest point on the island. The Cuillin Ridge that links these summits is often called the most dangerous mountaineering route in Britain. Stone that was once molten, cooled and carved into blades. But the most astonishing thing under your feet is not the rock, it is the footprints. Paleontologists call Skye the Jurassic Island of Scotland, and the reason is hard to believe. This single small island in the North Atlantic holds more than 10% of all the Middle Jurassic dinosaur species known anywhere on Earth. In April 2025, a team from the University of Edinburgh announced they had mapped 131 dinosaur footprints at Prince Charles's Point. They were the tracks of meat-eating theropods and long-necked sauropods. The island has been handing over its lost world ever since, which makes the fact that it also holds a genuine fairy realm feel almost reasonable. Below the northern slopes of the Quillian lie the fairy pools, a chain of clear rock basins so transparent that the stone glows blue-green through the water. It is meltwater off the mountains, cold all year, and every summer, someone leaps in and gasps at exactly how cold. People walk them slowly, the way you walk somewhere that feels older than you. Near the village of Weeg, there is a second, quieter kind of magic, the Fairy Glen. It is a cluster of small, strangely perfect cone-shaped hills and little ponds, almost unmarked by any sign, so that stumbling into it feels like crossing a threshold. There is a formation there people call Castle Ewan, though it is no castle at all, just a natural spike of rock that happens to look like a ruined keep. Then there is Kilt Rock, a sea cliff of basalt rising around 90 meters straight out of the water. As the lava cooled, it cracked into tall vertical columns, the same way it did at the Giant's Causeway, with darker bands of dolerite cutting across them to form a pattern like the pleats of a tartan kilt. Beside it, the Mielt waterfall drops nearly 100 meters into the sea, blown sideways in a strong wind before it ever lands. Further west, at Neast Point, the same volcanic rock reappears, and geologists think a single ancient river of magma once ran beneath the sea to surface in both places, making Skye and the Giant's Causeway distant geological cousins. It is, from every angle, a paradise. Pristine, wild, untouched. And that is exactly the picture the postcards sell. But there is one thing those photographs will never show you. Turn the island over, and its beauty has a bill attached. The island sold to the world as untouched wilderness is, increasingly, anything but. On a summer peak day, the car park at the Fairy Pools jams solid for an hour, and the roads to the Fairy Glen and the Quirring lock up with traffic. Here, the numbers turn concrete. The Highland Council raised parking charges at the Old Man of Store, effective from April 2026, 6 hours going from £5 to 6, 12 hours from 7 to 8. And that single car park at the store, with room for around 100 vehicles, sells more than 82,600 of its 6-hour tickets in a year. The Fairy Pools had already gone from £6 to 8 the spring before. 100 spaces, over 80,000 tickets. That arithmetic tells you how one small hillside is being loved. The people who live here feel it most. Residents and visitors who first came 20 and 30 years ago say the same thing. The crowds, the litter left by wild campers, the sense of a place worn thin. Some of those parking fees now go straight back into repairing the ground that tourism damaged. And a few who love the island most have started to say something that sounds almost like heresy. Please, stop promoting it. The island is not giving up, though. The Highland Council approved a visitor management plan worth £1.5 million, and from March 2025, committed an extra £655,000 a year to bring back seasonal access rangers during the busiest months. It is a small light in a hard truth, because if this is what the crowds are doing to the island, the real question is what all of it is doing to the people who never leave. Start with the weather, because on Skye, the weather is not small talk. It is the frame around everything. The old line that Skye gives you nice weather every 10 minutes is not a joke. Sun, then a hard burst of rain, then sun again, all inside the same walk. Many parts of the island take well over 1,500 millimeters of rain a year. This is a green island because it is a wet one. Winter, from November through March, is the emptiest and cheapest time to come, but the days are short and the rain relentless. It is not brutally cold, the Gulf Stream sees to that, but it is gray, damp, and wind-scoured, a long way from the summer postcard most people picture. If you want the island at its softest, go against the crowd.